Hi, I was just sitting down to do another still test when I thought, you know what, something's passed that I haven't really acknowledged, and that is that it's 5 years for me on YouTube at the start of this month, making videos, and 15,000 subs. They both sort of ticked over at about the same time. And I thought I'd give a bit of a rundown on my history of my past on YouTube and how I found it, and I'm going to do my five best things, my five worst things, and also the sort of turning points that I gradually hit on my channel and how they sort of made things better for me and how they improved it. So if you're a new YouTuber, this might be of interest to you, or just if you're a fan of the channel and happy to hear me chat for a little bit, then by all means, stay tuned. So I started back when Nut and Fancy, the Late Boy Scout, channels like that were king. Channels with pretty heavy tabletop, a fair tactical bushcraft survivalism slant. That was really what was going on in 2013. I guess the state of the world, whatever it was, that was what was trending. And that was what YouTube is all about, figuring out what is, popular at the time and sort of harnessing that. So I tried to do that. I didn't do it very well though. For a few reasons, that just wasn't me. Principally was I was very new. Secondly, it was not really for me. I was, just winging it. I was kind of just doing what the other guys were doing, my hope was to just be broadly appealing and get into that broad market. And I didn't have much success. I was pretty much stagnant for the first couple of years of my channel. I'll put a little graph up now showing my growth, and it really wasn't high at all. I probably grew to maybe, I think my 1,000 subscribers was once I was here, so I reckon it took about a year and a half to get to 1,000 subscribers at least. So yeah, my first, and it's understandable, you see what other people are finding success with and you just try and do it, but it really doesn't work like that. There's a reason those people are successful. They've built their fan bases through their personalities and through their in-jokes, through the relationship they've built up with their audience. So I kept doing it, and as I kept doing it, I guess I became more confident being on the screen, being in person, just talking to a camera, putting myself out there a little bit more. I think my first turning point came, and this is where my channel started to become a little bit better, was when I started actually doing proper editing techniques and interspersing use footage and that sort of thing into my videos. That, to me, because I started thinking, well, what am I enjoying watching? That to me was, pretty important. So I took some time, I figured out iMovie, I just put in some more effort and sat down at my Mac and actually spent as much time editing as I did actually filming. I used to just film and put it straight on YouTube and then wonder why no one was watching it. And in hindsight, those videos looked like they were shot on a potato, sound like they were shot on a potato, and I look a bit like a potato, frankly. And so it just wasn't working for me. Taking a bit more time in editing was something that really helped me out. People love to be stimulated over the course of a video. Change it up, have shots of outside, shots of inside, slow motion shots, all that sort of stuff. I enjoyed it, so it made sense that others did too. So that was the first thing I did, and that was probably, it took me about a year and a half to figure that out. About the same time, and I guess this is a product of being more confident. So those first couple of awkward years, I wouldn't change them. They were really good for just getting my practice up, getting my confidence up. Once my confidence was sufficient, once I'd show my face on the screen, all that sort of stuff, I think it then became, I was more satisfied to let my, freak flag fly just a little bit and start to, I guess, do things that other people weren't doing, because really just doing what everyone was doing wasn't working for me anyway. So you started to see a few silly videos, Gerber Scout versus Cucumber, the Cold Steel Lock, Triad Lock, teasing videos, all that sort of stuff. They're not the best. Compared to what I'm doing now, I look back and I cringe. I'm sure I'll look back and cringe on this in 5 years' time, whatever. But they were enough to at least sort of show a few people, hey, this guy might be just a little bit different. This one might be a channel to, expect, not just tabletop fodder from. So that was kind of, I guess, the next point. You sort of start to let your personality shine through. That's the saying, let your freak flag fly, and people will either see it as a beacon and come towards it, or be deterred and leave. And that's kind of what you want on YouTube. On Knife YouTube, you are never going to be PewDiePie. You're never going to be just able to do it for a really successful full-time job. You could probably make it like a part-time salary from it if you're like in the 300,000 subs, 10 million views a month kind of realm, but it's just not likely. So I just figured, well, if I'm going to be niche, I'm going to be happy in my niche. So sort of pushed on with that a bit. I pushed on with doing the silly videos. If you look, you can watch my funny knife videos playlist. Every couple of months I'd put something silly out. I'd start interspersing stuff that I thought was funny into my reviews, and it seemed to make it a little bit more, a few more hooks out there for people who were more like me, I guess, to say, hey, I identify with that, and I'm going to go along with that. That's kind of my second point of advice. Put yourself in your videos. Don't just do what everyone else is doing, because people they either dismiss it instantly, or they see through it, or you just get drowned out by everyone else doing the same thing as well. So I kind of went on doing that. I was still just doing reviews. I started calling them win and fail reviews, trying to, you're always searching for the next little hook to get people watching more and more. I've always just enjoyed this as an outlet. I probably would have kept doing it even if no one was watching, but any creative person wants the people to see their things. It's just the truth. So you do look for ways to get exposure. I've always hesitated from clickbait. Well, sometimes. I think I've clickbaited a few times. Usually it's quite self-aware though. But anyway. But yeah, you're always looking for things that aren't too cheesy but will get the views in the door. So a few different types of formats I've tried and experimentations I've tried. But I think the real gold came with the new idea. So having, I guess, third point is if you can have a new idea or at least do something that's not often done, that is the best thing, and that's what really helped me along. Probably my edge retention testing, the twisted sisal rope, is what really sort of made my channel, I guess, a little bit more unique. Not that I'm the first edge tester, of course not, but I may be the first who's done it so consistently and just so endlessly. And so I think that you become known as something. You become known as that, either that idiot whose tests I hate, who's cutting against rope and it means nothing, or, that guy who's doing those crazy tests and ruining his knives on the edges. You become known as something, and people out of car crash curiosity or genuine enjoyment will tune in. So it's been 2.5 years, I think, that I've been doing the edge tests. And yeah, it's kind of gotten really out of hand, which has been good. It really satisfies a part of my mind that is sort of definitely towards the my autistic brain is very pleased with that single repetitive task. I come home, I've got a fairly stressful job. I come home, I'm the kind of person that if my dream job would just be digging holes and pushing wheelbarrows, without a doubt, that would be my dream job. If they paid me the much money they pay me to do my real job to do that, then I would be a happy man. So coming back and doing a repetitive task really spoke to me, and also the addition of actually having measurable data. It might not be the best data in the world, but measurable data really hit home for me as well. So the fact that I could do that and be watched and enjoy doing it probably really worked for me. But you do that for a couple of years, you need to keep changing your YouTube. Again, harkening back to those analytics, things that are popular eventually become less popular. People get saturated. EDC update videos, unless you are a really big YouTuber doing them, they used to be guaranteed views, now they're not. Survival videos used to be guaranteed views, now they're not. And that's not even because of the YouTube algorithm, that is just because of the general interest in society in those things is always in flux. So I think as my interest, I'll always do these, but as my excitement about them began to wane a little bit, I sort of started looking for other things to do, and that's where you get Dickhead Survival come in. And that was a bit of they don't get as many views as I would like them to, but they're certainly fun, and I just enjoy really flexing my editing abilities and getting from literally 8 hours of footage, getting a 45-minute presentation. I do enjoy that whole process as much as it melted my computer that one time. But yeah, that's probably fair achievement as well. I'd say that's definitely in the top 5. I'll do top 5, bottom 5 in a sec, for sure, about knife YouTube and about my experiences. Walking through that, I then obviously more recently have started to dabble in the insane videos, the art videos, the stupid, and I guess it's just an extension of the original sort of comedy, funny videos, but and I know these ones aren't as well received, my sort of unusual films, I guess, as I've sort of started to call them, YouTube poop, whatever it is. But I always think of it like a food pyramid. You've got your wholesome stuff at the bottom that you need lots of, that keeps the channel, healthy and regular. And then moving up towards the very peak and that's where my insane videos are. They're like the confectionery, and it's just for me really. If you enjoy them, that's great, but it's stuff that it makes my life on YouTube happier, so therefore it filters down and the rest of the content keeps getting made as well. So it's just kind of how I've ended up being. So yeah, funny old journey for me. But yeah, my advice would be definitely those 3 things. So you've got to, I can't even remember what they were. No, it's true. You've got to edit them properly, your videos. Put in some, unless you've got a real hook. Nick Shabazz is one of the few that does tabletop only and actually kills it in his subs and his views because he has a hook. He has a structured plan of all his videos. He has that familiarity to them, that sequence. It's genius. It's no one else had done it. And Nut and Fancy, another very successful tabletop, had his, he used to go down that list of things, kind of stopped in the end, but Nick does good, great, bad, ugly. Very, very clever. Unless you can think of something as, catchy and as, addictive to the mind as that is, because obviously it is, then I would suggest spicing up your stuff with, make it more interesting. And then secondly, start letting yourself shine through. Was that the second thing? Yeah, start letting yourself, your own personality shine through. Yes, and that's right. Number 3, try and think of a unique idea or a point of difference between yourself and the other channels. That's my advice for if you're newer. I'm not speaking from I'm not up on my, 200,000 sub high horse or anything like that. I'm just it's kind of what's worked for me. And it's when I started doing those 3 things with confidence is when things started to go well. Anyway, top 5, bottom 5 of YouTube. I'm going to do this now. I'm going to try and keep this video under 20 minutes because I'm aware it is just me talking at the camera. So top 5, bottom 5. What are my favorite 5 things that that have happened since I've been on Knife YouTube? I'm going to say my favorite ones first. So I reckon I'll start with this now. I've got all this stuff in front of me. I think the edge testing, especially the Rex 121, the tungsten carbide knife, that sort of stuff was really, really interesting to me. Getting those ceilings, crossing those frontiers of huge edge retention for, pretty rarely sourced knives, like stuff that's not too easy to get. Getting those knives and, getting those tests done was really, really cool, and I really, really enjoyed it. So that's probably number 1. I did actually write these down. Dickhead Survival. I just loved doing those, and I still will do them, of course. They just take a whole lot of time to do. 1 Dickhead Survival, probably about the equivalent of doing maybe 20 knife tests or 10 video reviews in terms of time taken. That's why they're not super common, and this isn't anything even near like a part-time job for me, so when I could do them, I will do them. But yeah, taking the wife along on the last one was awesome. I wish they got more views, but it is what it is. Probably because the title has the word dick in it. It's probably never going to get featured anywhere, so well. Number 3 is probably the engagement posts. I always like doing like the Q&As. I like doing the live streams and that sort of stuff, just talking to the folks. Believe it or not, I'm not a very social person interpersonally, so that's a really good way for me to engage with like my fellow knife folks, for sure. I will do some more of those in the future, but it's one of those things, because most of you aren't here for me, you're just here for the knife videos, which is fine, it's the realities of it. You sort of have limited, you do those regularly, you get less and less views on all of them. People are like, they sort of check out, which is totally fine. And yeah, probably the best thing is just, finding your people. So the best thing about the internet is, if you have a weirdness, if you have a thing that you think you're the only person into, you search it on the internet or on YouTube or on whatever forum, there'll be a whole group of folks who are into it the same thing. And with me, my niche has been really, I guess, being a more of a laid-back knife person. A lot of really intense knife people out there. I always think this community takes itself a little bit too seriously. And yeah, so I sort of stopped. I stopped doing that as much. Yeah, my video reviews are often still, factual, but we get a bit bogged down in like our way is the only way and that sort of thing. And so that was my sort of niche, and I kind of put it out there, and others answered the call as well. And there's other videos that sort of other content creators that I sort of find myself, I feel kinship with. So like Advanced Knife Bro, Nick, the Birds, all that sort of stuff, all those sorts of folks. It's really, really good. So yeah, that's probably my best. Just finding my little people on the internet has been great. Worst things? Ooh, there's always bad things on YouTube. Let's go through them. The ultra slow start was probably a bit of a killer. Like, that's something that I can't overstate to folks looking to start YouTube. I try and give the odd channel a boost if I can, but even that gets tiring on my people who watch me, and they're going to just not pay attention if I'm doing one every other day. So there's that as well. It's tricky. It's so tricky to get going. I had a few leg ups. Earliest was actually unexpectedly John from the Wingman channel. I sent him an email one time saying, hey man, I'm stuck on YouTube. I suck. I'm going really slow. And the dude sent me like a really long response. Obviously, it showed he'd obviously watched all my videos, gave me feedback. Just a really cool guy. Our channels are fairly different, but just a really nice dude. And I certainly don't forget that. He probably doesn't even remember writing me back, but he did. And he wrote me like a good, probably, you'd be like a page or so of text on an email. So there was that. Like every now and then, the Nick or the Bird Shots have given me a shout out or something like that. So that's been cool. But yeah, the slow start is hard. The awkward fails. So yeah, when stuff doesn't go right, and you know, I'll share all my results of everything I review or test or anything like that. It isn't nice. It's not. Some people relish the content. Some people relish the controversy. I really don't. Whether it's a knife that's mislabeled and ends up being non-stainless, whether it's an M390 that doesn't hold its edge, whether it's knives that break during battening or whatever, the discussions you have then devolves into typing wars and also cringy exchanges with the companies, and it's just is what it is. I don't do this to have typing wars. I'll get to that in a minute, but yeah, those sorts of things I just can't wait till they're over. I always second guess myself. I always feel guilty. They're not nice. Of course, when they happen, I'll share them. I've never not shared something that has gone wrong, but yeah, never love that. The drive to put out an endless stream of content, and this is self-imposed by me, but the reason I held off doing Patreon for so long was because I didn't want to feel like I had to keep up a massive level of content. The thing about making stuff is, sometimes it is just better to make one thing a week and have it be good than make 4 shit things in a week and have them all be crap. I still struggle with this from time to time. I still feel like I need to keep up a regular stream of content, and I have no idea why. Because I know what I'm like with my subs. I don't really keep track of how much they're uploading. I'm like, hey, Advanced Knife Bro hasn't uploaded for 3 days. I might unsubscribe to him because he's losing his... No, of course not, but we're never rational, are we, with our, with self-examination. So there's that. So that's probably something that I'm still getting to grips with, but there you go. Number 4 is the difficult commenters. What people often don't realize is that, well, they generally don't, because it's usually the first of my videos. They're watching and they chuck on a shitty comment or whatever. I don't do this to have comment wars. I don't do this to have, people I'm arguing with in my own comments. I'll just get rid of you because I do this for my own enjoyment. And if your enjoyment is working symbiotically with my enjoyment, then great. But I'm not in it for these serious, discussions. If I say something, I don't particularly feel like I'll need to argue about it further in the comments. Sometimes I will. We're all human. We're all, we all bite. But yeah, that's probably one of the worst things is just the people who, don't do anything apart from comment negatively. Good mantra is it's better to be someone who makes something and gets criticized than someone who makes nothing and just criticizes other people. So I always think when I see like a commenter who's written this wall of text angry thing, I always just think it's just someone who all this person creates is negative comments. So let's just snip that off and goodbye, sir, goodbye. And that's generally what happens to them. And lastly is YouTube itself is a bit of a fucking puzzle, I must admit. And this is one that's held much more contemptuously by like the big YouTubers. They get a really hard time from this. But yeah, you don't know what YouTube wants. You really don't. It's a mystery. It's, is it because my videos have knife in the title? Do I have to get knife out of the title? Do I have to take it out of the tags? What is making things trend? What's making things not trend? What's making them bury videos? Do they bury videos? Is it all a leftist conspiracy to purify and have only ukulele-driven feel-good stuff on YouTube? I don't know. And you just don't know. You never know. They never say. The adpocalypse was pretty full-on back at the end of 2016, but that's kind of stopped now. I've not had a single monetization issue since probably last year, early last year even. That was just a bit of a hiccup. The machines were going crazy. But that was still a bit of a wake-up call that YouTube can kind of change what it wants you to do at any given moment. And yeah, it's just interesting to see what can blow up and what can't blow up. Looking at my videos at the moment, my basil video is my hugest video. So what? You know, it's a yeah, it's a funny old thing. Yes, very, very interesting little hobby this is. And yeah, YouTube having to, you know, not keep everything a secret, but just not be completely clear can sometimes bug you a little bit when you just want to make content that the people who would like it will actually discover. So there's that too. But look, overall, it's a 20-minute video. I'm sorry for going on for so long. I hope you've enjoyed it, got some value out of it, maybe if you're a new YouTuber, or just, you know, get to know me a little bit more, whatever. Back to the cut testing, back to the regular stuff, but I do appreciate you all watching. And I appreciate you very much because you don't have to watch it all. So in celebration, here is a goofy montage of me from the beginning of my days till present. See you in the next one, guys.
Uh-oh, retard alert! Retard alert, class!